Welcome back to the latest episode of BM Talks Ball, and we're here to talk about my favourite topic, as always, the Villa. And I've got a special episode for you tonight, and I've assembled the Avengers of Aston Villa creators with True Adventures, Gary from Every Week We Follow, Neil from the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, and Cory, who's always here with me to talk about the mighty Villa with you. So, first one, I just want to ask, I'll go around the table. Neil, how are you, mate? You okay? Welcome to the pod.
I am really good. Sun is shining, and Villa are going to beat Newcastle tomorrow. They beat the wrong ground, first of all. They're beating Nottingham Forest tomorrow, and I think all will be good in the world then.
Sam, how are you, mate?
I'm good, yeah. I've had my wobble, and now I'm locked in, as they say.
That's good to hear. Gary?
Mate, still wobbling, if I'm honest. I'm halfway there. I'm kind of like, the PTSD starting to kick in big time. Like, do you know what I mean? I've had flashbacks today of Olympiacos from the Conference League, just going, don't mess it up, don't do it. And then, as Neil mentioned, like the last time we won away was January, and that was at Newcastle. And I'm just kind of, please, come on, just let's play out the bag tomorrow.
Well, we've won away in Europe, though, haven't we? You know, it's not like we haven't won away at all. So let's just think this isn't a Premier League game. Let's focus it as a Europa League game. Cory, how are you, mate? Welcome.
I'm good, thank you, Ben. I'm good, thank you. And Ben, finally, how are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm glad to have all these wonderful creators to talk about the mighty Villa. So, look, I think it's going to be a difficult game. Neil, what do you think tomorrow? How do you think the game's going to pan out?
Yeah, it definitely will be difficult. I think, look, I know we'll probably get onto it in a moment about the Onana injury, and that seems to be the only thing that's on everybody's lips, I suppose, at the moment. But I think tomorrow will be difficult. But we also have to bear in mind that Nottingham Forest will probably be missing their two best players from the last time they played us in the league, in Murillo and in Callum Hudson-Odoi, who I thought was really, really good that day. Both of those guys are going to be missing. But this Forest team is in a false position. Just like Spurs are in a false position, just like Spurs and United were in a false position last year, Forest are in a false position this year where they are. They've got so much quality in that team. It's because they've got a basket case that runs the club is one of the reasons why they are where they are. In both a positive way and a negative way. He's one of the reasons they're in the Premier League, first and foremost, and in the European semi-final, and secondly, he's one of the reasons why they just go through managers like some people go through toothbrushes. You know, once every 3 months they just fire one out and they get a new one. You know, so it's not a healthy atmosphere that he has at that club from a managerial point of view. But there's some damn good players at that club, and there's some really, really good good partnerships, I suppose, that team has within it. And regardless of what anyone says about 16th, 15th, wherever they are in the league, they're still a really, really good team, and they give a lot of teams in Europe a good rattle at the moment.
I think that's the thing, really, isn't it? Ultimately, if any of us were going into this game thinking that it was going to be a walk in the park and we were going to breeze it in a Europa League semi-final, we'd absolutely be delusional. It's meant to be tough, isn't it? You're meant to have a difficult game at some time in the tournament, whether that is at quarter-final, semi-final. You're playing in a European semi-final, so it should be difficult. Sam, what are your thoughts ahead of the game?
Oh, my wobble's back. It's back, the wobble. No, they are a good team. I think the fact that we're not playing a European team, I think, is one of the things that is affecting our confidence. I'm not talking about the players, I mean us, the fans, because we see Unai Emery as being a European expert, and us playing an English team, it's like a spanner in the works. Like we don't want to play an English team, we want to play Porto because we know how to beat European teams. We don't know how to beat English teams. So I think that's why Gary was concerned earlier about our away form, because it's like, well, it's Premier League away form because this is a Premier League game, and we need to make sure that we can use all of the advantages that we do have over Forest, and those advantages are 3 seasons in Europe, an experienced European manager, the knowledge of how to get through a 2-legged European tie, and we're thinking back to the Olympiacos game. What was it, 2 years ago? Seems a million years ago, doesn't it? 2 years ago, the Olympiacos tie. If we played that tie again now, there's no way it would go the same way. We would be able to manage that tie so much better today. We're so much more controlled. that kind of basketball game that it turned into, Emery would not stand for that now. That's just not what we do. We did have Robin Olsen in goal, which is another reminder that people forget. But what I mean is, we're a different team. We've been through the Champions League. When we used to go away in Europe, we'd get spooked and we'd get beaten. This season in Europe, away from home, we've been excellent. Aside from go-ahead Eagles, we've been great. So we need to play to our strengths, and we need to make sure that it's a two-legged tie. And I think tomorrow night we need to treat it like a European away tie, not a Premier League game. It's a European away tie, and make sure if you can't win it, don't lose it.
There's a couple of points I want to pick out of that. So, obviously, what Sam's just said there about experiences. We've had multiple experiences over the last few years that should make us thick-skinned for this sort of environment. And then back to what Neil said, we played Nottingham Forest recently, and if it weren't for poor finishing in that league game, we would have beat them at their place. We had multiple opportunities to put that game to bed, and we just didn't. I do feel somehow that somewhat that it is massively just due to it being Forest. If it wasn't an English side, we would be going into this game full confidence, brimming. I just feel like some Villa fans are very much narrow-minded to the fact that it's, I say, the semi-final. It's against Nottingham Forest, an English side, but just kind of forgetting that game that we played against them recently, because I thought we were much the better side. How do you feel about that, Gary?
Yeah, mate, I agree with that. I thought in that Premier League game we should have won the game. We missed again 3 big chances. I think that'll be the same tomorrow. I think we'll create chances. It's all about, because form is out the window now. This time of the season, for me, it's kind of who wants it the most. It's that desire. I think this is why prior to the Fulham game on Saturday, I was confident we beat Forest over 2 legs. I thought I wasn't even worried, but the performance we put in on Saturday concerned me a little bit because it was just so flat. Do you know what I mean? It was like, for what was riding on it, we could have more or less secured Champions League football and just allowed the pressure just to ease a little bit off this fixture. Do you know what I mean? Where we're not relying on necessary. And I know we'll probably still qualify for the Champions League via league position anyway, but it just would have been a little bit more comfortable. And to watch that kind of flat, no energy, no desire, and watch Fulham just want it more than we. I didn't think Fulham were particularly brilliant in that game. And so, again, we created 4 big chances in that game, and we didn't take one of them. Now, at this level, in Premier League and European competition, if you create at least 3 or 4 chances, you've got to take 1 or 2 of them. I'd say 50% you're aiming for, right? And I just worry with our forward line that we're not as clinical as we could be, and that could cost us. But, it's a big European night, and hopefully with Unai Emery's experience, like Sam mentioned, we can turn up and just, if we take our chances tomorrow and just either don't, if we come away with a draw, or maybe a scrape, a 1-0 win, or even if we were to lose 1-0, I'd still fancy us to go back to Villa Park and get the job done. So yeah, I don't know why I'm so nervous about it, mate. Because like everyone said, I take everyone's points and I'm going, yeah, we should do this, but I think it is the Villa PTSD of kind of not getting over the line. But if we're judging it by game, then Forest a couple of weeks ago and Fulham even then, we've still created chance enough to win a football match. It's all whether we can be clinical enough.
We've all been round long enough to know what Aston Villa are like in a big moment where we should get something done, and we fall at the final hurdle. And I think having that PTSD is a natural feeling amongst the fan base. I think I hope I speak for all of us. I would pretty much take a 1-0 loss right now if it was offered to me. I would take a draw. I'd snap a draw off someone's hands 100%. How are you feeling ahead of the game, Cory?
I'm gonna go against the grain here. I've got no nerves at all, to be honest. Like, the way I'm looking at it is it's a European semi-final. We've probably got the best manager for it. We're going into a game against a team that we know we can beat. We've beaten them this season already. We've obviously, like we said at the City Ground, we probably should have beaten them if it weren't for poor finishing. I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do it again, if I'm honest. Obviously, I'm one of the unfortunate ones. I've never seen Villa win anything in my lifetime. I've never even seen us get close to win anything, unfortunately. All the cup finals we've lost quite convincingly, the semi-final stuff, and I just think for me it's a different slate. As Sam mentioned, the Olympiacos game, for example, I'm pretty sure we lost to Legia Warsaw in that Conference League first game as well. That Villa side that went into the Conference League compared to where we are now, it's a different entity. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. I'm ready for it. I'm sure when the whistle goes, I'll be hiding behind a pillow watching it. But at the moment, why not? Why not?
I think as well, Cory. I'm like you. I'm a lot more sunny side up about this game tomorrow because of Unai Emery, but also as well. Look, we talk about our flat performance versus Fulham. You know, I've got a good Forest sporting friend called Rich. He does a Forest podcast as well, and he came on prior to when we played them in the league. He did a piece for our podcast, and essentially he was like going, if we get through this tie, it's because a Porto defender put it in his own goals from 45 yards out, passing the ball back to his goalkeeper, and he said that is the slice of luck that we got in that game. So I think we look sometimes too much with, like, we can look at Forest results with Garibaldi red glasses on, and then sometimes we can kind of not want to look at our results with claret and blue glasses on, and it becomes a kind of their exploits are way better than they actually were, and we make our exploits way worse than they actually were. And I'll give you another example as well. Good friend of mine, good lad that I do bits and pieces with as well, Sunderland, as a Sunderland podcast. He was telling me about Sunderland up to January were the third best defence in the league. They sacked their defensive coach called Luciano Vulcano, and now they're the third worst in the league. Or I think actually now they might be the worst after the Forest the Forest game. So yes, we scored 4 goals against them. We conceded 3. That was a wild 2 minutes or whatever the case was. Forest then go and score 5 against them. I think a lot of people are looking at that and going, oh, Forest scored 5 and Sunderland didn't score any. We just scraped over the line against Sunderland. I've heard that today as well, which is nonsense, really. It is in a lot of ways. We did need a last minute goal, I know, but it was a wild sequence of events. We still scored 4 goals against Sunderland, and their defending is bad. So for Forest to go and score 5 is a brilliant thing for them to do, and there were some good goals there, but there was some dreadful defending as well. And the context here is key from that aspect. And that's my slogan always is context is key in situations like that. Yes, it will buy Newcastle. I said it again. Nottingham Forest. It will buy Forest for this because it will lift their boat. The fact that they've scored all those goals against Sunderland, but you know, Unai Emery's no mug, and he's going to know that, and he's going to have all the statistics in front of him and a board going, yeah, look, here's Sunderland right at the bottom of the form table, or the defensive table at the moment. Look, we got to take that with a pinch of salt too. So,
yeah, a lot of people are talking about their form and talking about it like it's fantastic. And don't get me wrong, they've picked up some decent results, but they've kind of had to pick up these results because if they didn't, they'd be relegated. And if you look at the teams that they have played around this period, they haven't played any of the so-called big hitters. You can't really call Tottenham Hotspur a big hitter as much as that is a decent result away from home. But everyone is going to, the new White Hart Lane, whatever you want to call it, and eating this season. It's a comfortable place to go for a lot of teams. And I just look at their results. The 2 games that, as you've just mentioned, Neil, the 5 that they scored past Sunderland. I watched that game, and some of the defending from Sunderland in that game was actually like League One standard. It was horrendous. And before that, it was Burnley. So it's you're not playing 2 teams that are wonderful, amazing teams. And like you say, they did struggle to get past Porto. In the game that they won against Porto at their place, they played against 10 men for an awful amount of time in that game. Yeah. I think
Agent
one thing that people
got sent off. Yeah,
good old Jan.
Favor.
No, sadly not. I was licking my lips at the thought process of us playing against Jan Bednarek and the 40-year-old Thiago Silva. I thought we'd have had some fun there. But I think the one person that not a lot of Villa fans are talking about, and I know it's Gary's best mate, but Ollie Watkins' form at the moment is top draw, and he's providing big goals in big games, especially in European games. The goals away from home, especially if it weren't for his goal away, was it Bologna with the last kick of the game? If he didn't score that game could be a lot more tricky coming back to Villa Park at only 2-1 after the defending that Leon Bailey put in for that goal that they got back. Watkins is just taking. He ain't taking his chances in the league, should we say, against Fulham. He had a couple there, but he's still scoring goals. But he's 6 goal contributions now in his last 5 games. I think he could be the difference maker tomorrow. Gary, do you want to talk about that one?
I'm happy to eat my words, mate. When I am his biggest critic, right? But he's because I don't think he's the top level striker that's required to. Like, if you're looking at last night's game, 5-4. Like Ollie Watkins is nowhere near in the realms of that. He's a million miles away from it. But from us, and like you said, the stats.
There's
Who
no
is
other striker.
they?
Like Harry Kane is a
Yes,
unicorn.
who is?
And in front,
I'll die on this hill, right? In that, as a top-level striker in the Premier League, you've been there for 3 or 4 seasons. Your objective should be to improve and develop season on season, right? In 23-24, he was outstanding, right? And yes, I know he's hit 100 goals, and he can take all the plaudits, and I think he's a wonderful human, and I think he's a great player. But and it's a massive but. When the going gets tough, look how many big chances this guy has missed over the last 2 seasons, right? And look at our goal difference in the last 2 seasons. Like it's the one thing that we're missing now. I'm not saying that's all down to Ollie Watkins, and I'll give him his flowers for the last 5 games because I think he's been outstanding. Even in the first half against Fulham, the chances that he created himself. He was excellent. He held the ball up really well. But there's been times this year where he's looked not interested. And it's all of a sudden now he got dropped from the England squad. And now he's kind of, and I think in his interview today, he was kind of saying, like, I want to win trophies. And so if you want to win trophies, it's as simple as this. You have to be clinical in front of goal. If you get 2 chances, you've got to take one of them. And for me, I don't know. I haven't got that faith in him. But I think hopefully he'll come good and prove me wrong. I'm happy to eat my word.
And I've no problem with you talking about the missed chances. I just had to jump on that. You see that game last night? There is no other striker in the world like Harry Kane at the moment. If you can find a number 9 like Harry Kane, you're going to be the wealthiest scout in all of world football currently at the moment.
I'm not expecting that level of thing from Ollie Watkins, but what I am expecting off the back of the 23-24 campaign when he went to the Euros, like, and the age he is, he's kind of, and you look at Harry Kane, I know he's an exception, but it's all about wanting to be the best. And I just think there's distractions in Ollie's life that keep him from working on the training pitch to kind of go out into the next level because he's got the potential. His movement's excellent, his work rate's excellent, his hold-up play's excellent. The thing that lets him down is his finishing. And that's something that I guess, to a certain degree, is a natural ability. But there is a lot of that you can go away and work on, right? And really spend extra time in the training ground of practicing for certain finishes, even deciding what finishes you are going to take. Like the game against Forest at the City Ground was a classic example. The chance he missed in the second half where he hit it sweetly, but it was the wrong finish. He's on the edge of the area. The keeper's off his line. He should have just curled it either corner. It was there to be like a composed finish, and he just makes these in split-second decisions. He always seems to go with the wrong decision, and it's easy for me to sit here obviously and go, "That's what he should have done." But a lot of the time, you can see as it's happening. Like even I was probably hypercritical with his first chance in that game where I think Rodgers played him through first-time ball, but his first touch was poor, and he ended up having to stretch for it, and it's a great save from the keeper. But if he controls that instantly, he's got an easy finish, like bottom right corner, and the game's over then, 2-0. And it's kind of so. These are the crucial moments. Look, I will die on this hill, and I'll argue with anyone about it. But ultimately, I want him to be successful. I think he could be the key for us. Not in this game, mate, but in terms of for the rest of the season, in winning us the Europa League.
Gary, I would argue that he has been successful.
I was just about to say it. He's been the most.
And you say
striker
he always makes the wrong decision. I'd say he's made the right decision over 100 times for Aston Villa.
But
you can look at Christian Benteke, Juan Pablo Angel, Dean Saunders, Daly and Atkinson. Oh my gosh, who else have we got? Any Premier League striker? Gabby Agbonlahor. Ollie Watkins will be looked back on as Villa's greatest ever Premier League striker.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Without a shadow of a doubt, in Villa's best Premier League team, in a team that's qualified for the Champions League, now it'll be twice, in a team that's gotten to 2 European semi-finals and a European quarter-final. He's a player that Unai Emery has insane trust in, and if we have trust in Unai Emery, then we have to have trust in Unai Emery's choice to go with Ollie Watkins. And he does miss chances, but good strikers miss chances. They do miss chances. But he's not the striker that is at the highest level. He's at the striker that's maybe just under the highest level. But Villa are a team that are just under the highest level. We're not anywhere near those 2 teams that played last night. They're playing a different sport to the sport that we're playing. And we're a team that is punching above our weight. And I think Ollie Watkins has been punching above his weight for years. And he's been, at the same time, been doing absolute dog's work for the team. And in years to come, when there are kids now, they will look back now and they'll be like, who was your favourite player? Ollie Watkins. They love Ollie Watkins, and I just think it's harsh on him because he's not demanding to play. He's not twisting Unai Emery's arm. He's not making Unai Emery play him. Unai Emery keeps playing him. And if we had the money, would we have replaced him? Probably. Maybe with Rashford, we would have replaced him. Yeah, maybe. He did go out of the team under Rashford. He's gone out of the team under John Duran. But when it's come to the crunch, guess who's gone back in the team? Ollie Watkins. And the other thing about Watkins is that he's a bit of a unicorn for Villa because the system that Unai Emery likes to play in, Unai Emery is system above everything. The system works with Ollie Watkins. Even a bad Ollie Watkins, the system works better. That's why Tammy Abraham can't get in the team because the system doesn't work with him in it. And I think what Unai Emery's looking for to replace Ollie Watkins is another Ollie Watkins because he doesn't care about the missed chances. Unai Emery does not care. I mean, he'd like more goals. What he cares about is he runs when I tell him to run. He stands where I tell him to stand. He presses when I tell him to press. He does all the stuff that I want him to do. That's what Unai Emery's bothered about because he sees it as a bigger picture. He's like, oh yeah, he missed a chance, but that's all right. But look where he's standing. Look at that heat map. That's the way he thinks about it. But look, like I said, this can turn into the Ollie Watkins yes/no debate. But I think the point is, when you say that he's not good enough for the level that we're at, he's part of the reason we're at this level. So I think,
I personally think as well, the key when it comes to Watkins is that 23-24 season that you're on about, Garrett. He had better players around him. Let's be honest, the team we've got now is worse than that 23-24 season. Diaby is better than players we've got. Leon Bailey was playing at a better standard than what we've got. John McGinn was a younger version of John McGinn. Yuri Tielemans was fit for the whole season, so we had those sort of things. And I think with Ollie Watkins, he doesn't get a lot of chances this season. I've said to Ben a few times in the games we go to, yes, okay, we're thinking about the ones he's missed, but it's not like he's missing 2 or 3 in a game anymore. He's only getting one chance, and I know what you're saying, obviously, if you get one chance, you need a striker who's going to score it, but Haaland's got the most missed chances in the Premier League. Haaland's scored, 200 goals or something in 3 years or something ridiculous like that, and I think it's just quality around him.
Not going to completely kill Gazzy's point because I think he's made a fair assessment in the fact that Ollie hasn't kicked on. Ollie's brilliant and I'll downhill. I love Ollie Watkins, but it's not when you're having a striker at the level of what Ian Wright was in the Premier League. He's dug out Ollie Watkins for not kicking on and not choosing the right finishes. I do somewhat see where Gaz has come from, and I take everyone's points on board. And I do lean more towards the side of the fence of Ollie Watkins will go down as a legend at Aston Villa Football Club, and the fact that he's produced 15 plus Premier League goals for the last 3 seasons, and he's currently on 11 Premier League goals with the chance of him getting 4 from now to the end of the season. He could well do that, and if a striker is scoring 15 plus Premier League goals every single season, that is a top level striker if we're being honest. So should we move past the Ollie Watkins point, because I think we could we could turn the show into one about Ollie Watkins. Let's talk about Amadou Onana and the importance of him coming back into the team, because obviously the images have been leaked this evening with him with a brace, it looks like, strapping around his knee. I would imagine he will play, and I do feel there is a massive importance on Onana playing. And I know, look, whoever plays, we have to get behind them and back them to do a good job on the field for Aston Villa. I just feel the level that Onana can provide us, especially in that defensive midfield role, is better than anything else we've got available personally. How do you feel about that, Sam?
Well, it's the question of whether an injured Onana is better than a fully fit, Bogard or Louise? Is that what we're looking at in terms of replacement, or shifting players all around to make it work? It's funny how important Onana's become, really, because I still see him as being an inconsistent player, but he has become important. And I think, why is it? Physicality? I think physicality. I still don't think he's playing anywhere near as good as he can do. But I think within the system, when Kamara is missing... Kamara. If we had Boubacar Kamara...
Forward big. This wouldn't even be a show. We'd just be like, we're going to win the game comfortably.
Oh yeah,
we'd still be in a title race if the 3 of them didn't get injured.
I think Villa would be easily third with Boubacar Kamara, and I think the Europa League would be, frankly, a walk in the park. I think it would be. I'd be sitting here with a cigar saying, "Can't wait Can't wait for the final. It's going to be great. Can't believe we're going to win a trophy. Anyway, enough of that, Kamara. But with Kamara missing, Onana has now become important. Bogard, I really like Bogard, but I don't think he's enough of an all rounder. And Onana, he can get forward, he can score goals, he can be physical, he's good in the air, and I think against that Forest midfield, he does seem to be a key asset that we need. So what we don't want is him to play and then get crocked and then out for the rest of the season or out for the second leg. So it's a big worry and it's a big pain because it's a shame because he's struggled to stay fit throughout his Villa career, and this has probably been his longest period of being fit, isn't it? And just now, he's just picked up a little knock. So yeah, it's that is the big key. If Onana walks out of that tunnel tomorrow night, I will feel a lot more confident. But I will also be worried that he'll hit the deck after 10 minutes and that'll be that. So, it's not ideal.
He put in a fantastic display as well at their grounding in the 1-1 draw. I thought he was very good in that game. Corey, who would you bring in if Onana isn't fit to play?
You know that.
I know. I've asked. That's the reason why I've asked you. See how everyone else feels.
I'd bring Victor Lindelof in. I think the experience he has in terms of European pedigree. As a player, he's won it with Man United before. He's played in the six before. His passing's impeccable. His tackling's brilliant. He's clearly got the legs in him still. That for me would be the obvious replacement in a moment where we need it. I think I've said, don't get me wrong, I don't have any doubts about Douglas Luiz coming in. The only thing in my mind is the adrenaline side of it. He knows what happened the last time we were in a European semi-final. Is he going to try and overcompensate and then pull out some stupid challenges, things like that, because he's trying to show that he wants to make up for that mistake against Olympiacos? So for me, it'd be Victor Lindelof.
Yeah, I think I can see Neil was definitely very happy with that choice. I take it you're pro Lindelof then, Neil.
I'm pro Lindelof in every facet of life. I think
Lindelof Nation. Who's that guy that does Lindelof Nation? Is that on
Lindelof Nation? Wilsonet. Yeah,
I love Victor Lindelof. Like when you think about this season, our only real transfers of consequence that we've made that have done anything for us this year have been Victor Lindelof, Marco Bizzat, and to a small degree, you would say, Jadon Sancho. Two of them, Manchester United, complete and utter rejects, and one of them, a 33-year-old goalkeeper from a team that's named after a female anatomy part. So that's the kind of season that we've had. But I don't think Victor Lindelof's going to start in there. I posit everything on my podcast is it's nearly called for the love of Victor Lindelof at the moment because he's just been absolutely excellent. He's been brilliant for Villa this season. He's been absolutely brilliant. He's turned into prime Baresi whenever he's been on the field, and he's like. I joked saying that we should put him in. So the fact that Cory mentioned it as well, I like the fact that I've got a brother in arms in the Lindelof stakes there. But I think one of the things here as well is, on Forest are kind of in the same boat as us with regards to this too. Ibrahim Sangare is their absolute enforcer in midfield. He himself and Dan Ndoye both trained away from the team today on their own, and they both basically just did light bike work on their own today, I'm led to believe. So Ibrahim Sangare is as big a loss for them as Onana would be for us. And again, the amount of freedom that Sangare gives somebody like Elliot Anderson to just be a seek and destroy missile for the rest of the midfield at times is huge. So I want Onana to be there. If Onana isn't there, I suppose probably the rational piece of me would say I would nearly go with Douglas Luiz. I'm very pro Bogard. I just think at the weekend his positioning was. There was times he was playing right back in that midfield, and I was kind of going, yeah, he was dragged out of position very, very easily by Emile Smith-Rowe. I don't know how he would do against Morgan Gibbs-White. I'd nearly go with Douglas Luiz in there and try and smother them with a possession-based game if Onana isn't fit. But I've got a sneaking suspicion. I'd say if we were to ask Unai Emery about percentages now, he'd probably say, yeah, it's a 70% chance that he's going to play tomorrow. 30% chance he isn't. So, and that's kind of where I'm erring on as well, that he is going to start. But there's Forest fans up and down Nottingham, all saying the same thing about Ibrahim Sangare too. So it'll be interesting to see if both of them step in the field tomorrow.
It's going to be an interesting one. You would think, surely, and I know it's European semi-final. I know the carrot at the end of it is the Champions League qualification and a trophy. But surely, there has got to be something in the back of Nottingham Forest's mind if they don't stay up in the Premier League. How suicidal that would be for the football club if they was to be in the Championship and be playing Champions League football. That'd be mental, wouldn't it? You look at that.
I think they're home and host now at this stage.
They should do, really.
Yeah.
So we've got Spurs this weekend. Go on, Gary.
We had a Forest fan on the podcast yesterday, and they're just like us. We should qualify for the Champions League via the league stage as well, right? 8 points clear of Brighton, but I think there's a little bit of PTSD around Forest fans that still believe they've got to win maybe 2 more games to guarantee that they stay up, right? So I think if you were to ask a Forest fan that question, would you rather be in the Premier League and not playing in the Champions League? I think they'd say yes, right? They want Premier League survival is the key. So it's one of them. It's so difficult because of like you said, Ben, the carrot of what it is for us and what it means, and obviously they've the first time in European football in 30 odd years for them, and so it still means something to them. But if they were to lose it, it's not the end of the world if they stay in the Premier League, right? And I just think that maybe they will have one eye on that, and we've got to use that against them, hopefully.
Yeah, that's what I'm counting on. I'm counting on. I thought they were home and hosed as well, and then I did one of those Premier League predictors, and I was shocked at the points total that I realised it would take. I think we're looking at. I was 41. 41, I think I had it at, and that made me go, I've misjudged this relegation race, because I think usually the relegation race is between, it's 2 places between like 5 teams. Because this is just 1 place, it's like a reverse league, isn't it, that they're running? It's really interesting, dynamic, something that we don't normally have, and also teams that are near relegation are usually rubbish. But these are, the Premier League doesn't really have any rubbish teams. Burnley are rubbish. Wolves were rubbish for a long time. But really, are Leeds rubbish? No. Are Forest rubbish? No. Who else is down there?
Spurs.
Newcastle? Spurs. I mean, look, we all joke about Spurs, but really, come on. They won the Europa League last year. That's not a team. So usually when you're in a relegation battle, everyone's just losing. I think this could be a really weird relegation battle where people start winning, because this league is it's a weird league. It's a weird league this year because everyone is almost as good as each other, going from 17th up to 10th at least. It's weird.
It's an interesting question that you asked. One of you guys asked there. He said, would they like to finish? Would Forest like to get relegated and be in the Champions League? I would say if you were to ask Marinakis what he would prefer, I don't think he'd have any issue with that happening. And I'll tell you why. Champions League will allow them to keep their players. It will also keep the season ticket sales high. It will keep fans coming on a weekly basis to keep all of their
membership points.
Their membership points and everything for the Champions League games. And he gets the bonanza of the Champions League money, the parachute payments, and he gets to sell out and everything else that happened with it. So I actually don't think he would care, because they're going to, if they get to keep all their players, they'll just waltz back up again, and they'll have had Champions League, and they'll have had some crack in the Champions League too, with all the money that comes with it. With the parachute payment system, I think
it's never happened before, has it?
No, it's not, and that's the thing. It's not designed for it to be an actual. Relegation is designed to be an absolute deadener on your finances. It's not designed for you to get relegated and then end up in the Champions League. That the payment schedule isn't designed for that. But when I suppose if you take into account parachute payments, and you take into account potentially, let's say they get to last 16, maybe they get to a quarter final if they keep all their players. And think of it this way: they could do a PSG, they could do a Bayern Munich whereby they've got an Elliot Anderson who plays 20 league games in the year and they keep him fit for Champions League. All this kind of stuff. They could get to the last 16. They get another 60 million on top in that year plus the parachute payments, and before you know it, the whole of Premier League football is completely and utterly covered by all of the riches that the Champions League brings.
So that's a real fascinating topic for some potential content. It's not really my cup of tea because I probably ain't that educated in that field. But I reckon someone like Adam, who I tried to get on here, he'd do really well with something like that. I'll have to let him know. But it is a mad concept, isn't it? You could go down and you could probably be better if they got Champions League. They'd be better off financially from going down and getting that than probably staying in the Premier League. That's crazy. Yeah. That's
madness, that, isn't it?
That is madness. Crazy. So on that note, then they probably are going to go full strength tomorrow, and they are going to just try to win the Europa League. So that's pissed all over my parade.
I think the easiest way to look at tomorrow's game is the winner is whoever's got this up here. We spoke about it the whole podcast. It's the mentality side of it. A player that springs to mind for me that needs to be on it is Pau Torres. The last 2 games we've played, the FA Cup semi-final, mistake. The PSG quarter-final, mistake. The Olympiacos semi-final, mistake. Someone like him, he has to have that mentality now where it's like, right, I've been here before with Villarreal. I know what I need to do that. Tomorrow, it's about mentality. Whichever team can go in with that mentality. Villa have been in Europe for 3 years now, as Sam said earlier. Forest, this is their first time back in Europe and they've managed to reach the heights of the semi-final. We need to... Well, we don't need to hope. What we need to do is keep our cool and then hope, really, that Forest do what we did against Olympiacos and it just gets a bit too much for them. You can come out the City ground tomorrow with Villa having a 2-goal lead or something going into Villa Park and it's a bit more relaxing for us. But, as we all know, it's Aston Villa Football Club. So we don't do things the easy way. But it's just mentality. That is the key to it, really. I think Johan Cruyff said it's football's played with the brain, your feet are just your tools. And that's exactly what it is tomorrow. It's exactly that.
Well, I hope we've got a 2-0 lead, because if there is, you'll probably see me dancing in the stands in the middle of all the Forest fans in corporate. Right. Is there any other bits you gents want to cover? If not, we'll probably look to wrap up the pod there and just go through score predictions. Yeah, all good? Okay, score predictions. We'll go with Neil first. What are you going for, Neil?
I'm going for Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
Cory?
Said 2-1 on our one, but I'm going to say 3-1 Villa now.
Bloody hell, grew in confidence. Sam?
I'm going to go 3-1 as well. I like 3-1. That's good. Yeah, let's do 3-1.
Gary?
Mate, the PTSD is still firmly on me, I'm afraid. I think that Forest are going to come out all guns a-blazing at us tomorrow. I think even Forest fans said to me yesterday that they have to win tomorrow if they're going to win the tie. They can't go back to Villa Park having to chase the game. So I'm going 1-0 Villa. That's what I'm hoping for. Defend to our lives, get a sneaky goal, take them back to Villa Park and finish the job. Because they have not won at Villa Park for 30-odd years.
No, we always do well against them at our place. I've been saying I think it was a draw all week, but now I feel peer pressured here into saying we're going to win the game.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with my guns, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. And I would take that now. If you offered me a 1-1 draw, I'd take it because I think we beat them back at Villa Park. So on that note, I think we'll wrap it up there, for ladies and gentlemen that are watching the podcast, not calling you guys ladies. And thank you all for watching. And final one from us all. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.